Hello everyone, so myself Sneha Bhatia, MPT in Orthopedics and Sports Rehabilitation. So in my today's video, I will be talking about breathing exercises for COVID-19. So according to YouTube analytics, 69% of my audience have yet not subscribed to my channel. So I would like to request my audience to please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the next video. So, coronavirus that causes COVID 19 attacks the lungs and the respiratory system, and it sometimes results in significant damage. COVID 19 often leads to pneumonia and even acute respiratory distress syndrome, that is called as ARDS. It is a severe lung injury, and recovering lung function is possible but can require therapy and exercises for months after the infection is treated. So we all know that coronavirus is attacking our respiratory system, and lungs are the vital organs of our respiratory system. And coronavirus, if you have COVID-19 infection, then there are chances that lung can get affected, and because of that a patient may experience breathing difficulties. So we all know that coronavirus, once you have the virus, then it will attack your respiratory system, and it will affect your breathing capacity. Patient may complain of shortness of breath. It can range from mild, moderate to severe. So some patients can even be asymptomatic. They don't experience any breathing difficulties at all. There will be some patient who will have mild symptoms of breathing problem, and there will be other people who will have severe respiratory illness which may require mechanical ventilation also. So depending on the condition of the patient, the respiratory system may get affected, and even in elderly patient there are chances that they may experience more breathing difficulties compared to younger individuals. So this is the normal anatomy of our respiratory system. So we are taking the air in from our nose, okay, then epiglottis, pharynx, larynx, trachea, lung. We have two lungs, bronchus, bronchioles, diaphragm is there, and then here there is microscopic picture, which in that picture we can see the arteries, the vein and the capillaries. When the gaseous exchange takes place, we have the bronchiole and the alveoli. So this is the normal anatomy of our respiratory system. This is a 3D image of lungs showing how the coronavirus affects our lungs. So you can see the green color patches in this image. So these green color patches are the areas of the lung which are affected by the coronavirus. So as we can see, almost all the area of the lung has been affected. So once you have the infection, then maybe your doctor will send you for CT scan report. So CT of your lungs can also reveal that there can be some changes in your lungs. So because of this effect of coronavirus on our lungs, the patient may be experiencing breathing problems. So this is another picture, infection from COVID-19. This is again a 3D image. Again here red color arrows are showing the green color patches. These are the areas of the lung which are affected by coronavirus. So since there will be damage in the lungs, because of that the gaseous exchange will get affected. So the patient may experience breathing problem. So how the COVID-19 affects you? So coronavirus disease 2019, also called as COVID-19, is a pandemic caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, also called as SARS-COVID-19 COVID-2. Despite the widespread awareness regarding COVID-19, many are still unaware about how it affects the human body. So in our human body we have right lung, left lung, trachea, bronchus and alveoli. So SARS-CoV-2 starts its journey in the nose through mouth or eyes and travels down to the alveoli in the lungs. Alveoli are tiny sacs of air where gas exchange takes place. So what will happen if there is healthy alveoli? Then you can say the normal gas exchange will take place. So we have the capillary wall, RBCs are there, we have the type 1 alveolar cell, surfactant, and type 2 alveolar cell. So gas exchange, how the gaseous exchange takes place. Each sac of air or alveolus is wrapped with capillaries where red blood cells release carbon dioxide and pick up oxygen. Two alveolar cells facilitate gas exchange. Type 1 cells are thin enough that the oxygen passed right through, and type 2 cells secrete surfactant, a substance that lines the alveoli and prevents it from collapsing. So if there is infection, okay, so if in case of viral infection, the spike protein covering the coronavirus bind ACE2 receptors primarily on the type 2 alveolar cells, allowing the virus to inject its RNA, and the RNA hijacks the cell, telling it to assemble many more copies of the virus and release them into the alveolus. The host cell destroyed in this process, and the new coronavirus infect the neighboring cells. So this is the structure of the SARS-CoV-2. We have the membrane protein, then lipid membrane, envelope protein, and spike protein. So if it is in moderate infection is there, then there can be fluid collection, inflammatory signals can be there, okay, vasodilation can occur, inflammatory signals can be there, reduced surfactant level, and infected type 2 alveolar cell. So there will be reduced gas exchange. In case of severe problem, there will be greatly hindered gas exchange, so fluid filled interstitium, loss of surfactant, neutrophil will be present, protein and cellular debris will be there, and formation of scar tissues inside the lung. So there will be impaired gas exchange. So when the immune system attacks the area of infection, it also kills healthy alveolar cells. This results in three things that hinder gas exchange: alveolar collapse due to loss of surfactant from type 2 cells. The second thing which takes place is less oxygen enters the bloodstream due to lack of type 1 cells. And third thing, more fluid enters the alveolus. Okay, so after the infection, what is the immune response? So after the infection, type 2 cells release inflammatory signals that recruit macrophages. Macrophages release cytokines that cause vasodilation, which allows more immune cells to come to the site of injury and exit the capillary. Fluid accumulates inside the alveolus. The fluid dilutes the surfactant, which triggers the onset of alveolar collapse. Neutrophils are recruited to the site of infection and release reactive oxygen species to destroy infected cells. Type 1 and type 2 cells are destroyed, leading to the collapse of the alveolus, causing ARDS. If inflammation becomes severe, the protein-rich fluid can enter the bloodstream and travel elsewhere in the body, causing systematic inflammatory response syndrome. And SIRS may lead to septic shock and multi-organ failure, which can have fatal consequences. So this is how COVID-19 is affecting the lung and entire body. So this is the X-ray showing the infection. Okay, as we can see, there are patches, red color patches. These are the areas of the lung which are affected by the coronavirus. So there are some exercises which we can perform when we are having the infection, and even if we are not having the infection, daily performing breathing exercises can improve our lung capacity. So one of the technique of breathing is diaphragmatic breathing. It is also called as belly breathing. So for that you have to lie on your back and bend your knees so that the bottom of your feet are resting on the bed. Place your hands on top of your stomach and wrap them around the sides of your stomach. Close your lips and place your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Breathe in through the nose and pull air down into your stomach where your hands are, and try to spread your fingers apart with your breath. Slowly exhale your breath through the nose and repeat deep breaths for 1 minute. So that is called as diaphragmatic breathing. So you can see this picture. In this picture we can see the patient is in crook lying position. Okay, one hand is over the abdomen, other hand is over the chest. So slowly you can inhale the air inside your body and then you can exhale it. Okay, so this can be done for maybe 10 times, 20 times. Okay, so this is called as diaphragmatic breathing. So this relaxes your respiratory system and it also improves the oxygen supply to your lungs. So this is the way how to perform the diaphragmatic breathing. Next is deep breathing while on your stomach. So lie on your stomach and rest your head on your hands to allow room to breathe. Close your lips and place your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Breathe in through your nose and pull air down into your stomach. Try to focus on your stomach pushing into the mattress as you breathe. Slowly exhale your breath through the nose and repeat deep breaths for 1 minute. So for these exercises, again you are practicing the breathing pattern, but you are lying on your stomach. Then the same exercises can be also performed in the sitting position. So you have to sit upright on the edge of the bed or in a chair. Place your hands around the sides of your stomach. Close your lips and place your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Breathe in through your nose and pull air down into your stomach where your hands are. Try to spread your fingers apart with your breath and slowly exhale through your breath through the nose. Repeat the deep breaths for 1 minute. So as you can see here, you can see our subject is sitting on a chair, so you can nicely sit in a relaxed sitting posture, but the spine has to be in erect position. Place one hand over the chest and other hand is over the abdomen. Try to take a deep breath through your nose and don't hold it. No need to hold your breath. Just take a deep breath and then exhale through your nose. If you want, you can even exhale through your mouth. You can do pursed lip breathing. So for that, you have to purse your lip, and as you inhale through your nose, you can take the breath out through your mouth. So this is the breathing exercise in sitting posture. So you can see in this video how the lady is performing breathing exercise in sitting posture. So then there is another technique which we are more commonly using in physiotherapy, that is the active cycle of breathing techniques. So the active cycle of breathing techniques, ACBT, is an active breathing technique performed by the patient, and it can be used to mobilize and clear excess pulmonary secretion and to generally improve the lung function. So ACBT is having 3 phases. The first one is the breathing control. The second is the deep breathing exercises or the thoracic expansion exercises. And the third one is the huffing or the forced expiratory technique. It is also forced expiratory technique is also called as FET. So there are 3 phases. One is the breathing control. Second is the deep breathing exercise or thoracic expansion exercise. And the third one is huffing or FET. So you can see in this picture, we can see what is happening when we are inhaling and when we are exhaling. Inhaling means when we are taking the air inside our lungs. Exhaling means when we are bringing the air out of the lungs. So inhaling, we are taking the air inside through the nose. So while we do that, the chest expands, diaphragm contracts and the belly expands. Exhaling means when the air is coming out of the nose. So that exhalation will take place through the nose. Air will come out of the nose. The chest will relax. The diaphragm will also relax and the belly will contract. So first phase of the ACBT, that is the breathing control, we have to breathe in and out gently through the nose if we can. If we cannot breathe through the nose, then we can breathe through the mouth instead. Patient breathe according to his own rate. If you breathe out through your mouth, it's best to use the breathing control with pursed lip breathing. Try to let go of any tension in your body with each breathe out and keep your shoulders relaxed, because when we are engaging our shoulders, when the shoulders are tight, some of the chest muscles will also help in the breathing, and we don't want any accessory muscles to work unnecessarily. So gradually try to make the breath slower. Try closing your eyes to help you focus on your breathing and to relax. Breathing control should continue until the person feels ready to progress to the other stages in the cycle. So basically in breathing control, it is nothing but a form of normal relaxed breathing. You can do breathing control in supine position, you can even do it in the sitting position or even in the standing position. So what basically you have to do it, breathe in gently through your nose and then take it out through your mouth. Take it out through your nose if you can, and if you cannot take it out through your nose, then you can even breathe out through your mouth. So deep breathing exercises, the second phase, or the thoracic expansion exercises. So this is the second phase of the ACBT, that is the active cycle of breathing technique. So what we are doing here, we have to try to keep the chest and the shoulders relaxed. So as I told you, when we are in under tension, when the shoulders are not relaxed, that time lot of neck muscles and the chest muscles, upper chest muscles can help you with the breathing. So in that there will be added tension for your breathing mechanics, so that is not required. So as far as possible, while performing any kind of breathing exercises, it is necessary to relax your body, to calm your mind, and then perform the breathing exercises. Then it will yield good results. So take a long, slow and deep breath in through your nose if you can. At the end of the breath in, hold the air in your lungs for 2 to 3 seconds before breathing out, and this is known as inspiratory hold. So here this is the first time deep breathing exercises. What we are doing is, once we have taken the air inside our nose and inside our lung, we have to hold it for 2 to 3 seconds as far as possible. Okay, at least 2 to 3 second inspiratory hold is required. Then we have to breathe out gently and relaxed like a sigh, and don't force the air out. We do not have to force the air out of our lungs. So first of all, in the deep breathing, I will explain it again. Just take a normal relaxed breath in, hold it for 2 to 3 seconds, and then exhale out, but do not force the air out of your lung. Okay, slowly and in a gentle manner you can exhale the breath out. You can repeat it for 3 to 5 times. If the patient feels lightheaded, then it is important that they revert back to the breathing control phase of the cycle. So this exercise can be repeated 3 to 5 times. Next is the huffing or the forced expiratory technique. So a huff is exhaling through an open mouth and throat instead of coughing. Huffing helps to move the sputum from the small airways to the larger airways, from where they are removed by coughing, as coughing alone cannot remove the sputum from the small airways. So at the last phase you can do even huffing or coughing. Huffing is useful because sometimes cough cannot remove the sputum out. So in that case, huff can help to clear the secretion out of the lung. So this is the image showing the entire cycle of the ACBT. We have to do breathing control for 20 to 30 seconds, then take 3 to 4 deep breaths, then again breathing control, then again take 3 to 4 deep breaths, then again breathing control followed by huffing, okay, and coughing if needed. So steps of active cycle of breathing technique. First is the breathing control, that is called as relaxed breathing. Then deep breathing or thoracic expansion exercises. We have to take 3 to 5 deep breaths. Then we have to go for forced expiration technique, that is the huff. Huff can be either mid or high volume huff. And last is the coughing. We have to cough it out. If you feel that there is sputum or secretion, then you can clear it out by coughing. In yoga also there are some breathing exercises which a patient can perform. So pranayama, the practice of breath control in yoga, is also considered as one of the best exercises for your lungs. Pranayamas, or also called as breathing exercises such as Kapalbhati, can benefit your health in many ways, including improving weight loss and dealing with stress related disorders. So number of studies back up the idea that regular practice of yoga and meditation can help increase lung capacity, manage health conditions that put you at risk of contracting COVID-19, According to yoga experts, regular practice of pranayamas or breathing techniques make your lungs more efficient among several benefits. So there are many benefits of performing yoga. Yoga can give flexibility to your body, it can keep you fit and fine. Apart from that, it can also strengthen your respiratory system as well as your immune system. So Kapalbhati Pranayama, we have to start by sitting in a comfortable position. Keep your spine straight and close your eyes. Place your palms on the knees facing up. Exhale completely. You have to take the air out of your lung. Inhale normally through the nostrils and exhale sharply, pulling your navel in towards your spine, allowing your belly to forcefully expel all the air from the diaphragm and lungs by compressing it. So what you have to do is you have to take a deep breath through your nose, okay, and then you have to exhale it out sharply. You have to pull in your navel, you have to tuck in your tummy and take the air out of your lungs. As you relax the navel and abdomen, your breath will flow into your lungs automatically. So when you are relaxing your abdomen, automatically the breath will go inside your lung. Try taking such 20 breaths to complete one round and relax without opening your eyes and feel the sensation in your body. So at least for 20 repetition you can do Kapalbhati. Beginners may start with just 2 minutes a day and gradually they can increase the practice with time. So Kapalbhati can be performed by almost everybody unless you have some condition which may not allow you to perform Kapalbhati pranayama. So in this Kapalbhati, just we are sitting in a relaxed comfortable position. We are taking the air inside, we are taking the breath through our nose, and then when we are exhaling it out forcefully by drawing the abdomen inside. Okay, so this can be done for, it can start with 2 minutes and you can do it as long as you can. Kapalbhati is best done in the morning on an empty stomach before breakfast. However, you can also do this breathing for at least breathing exercises after 2 hours. If you have had any meal, then after 2 hours of eating anything, you can do Kapalbhati. So benefits of Kapalbhati pranayama, it helps to improve the lung capacity, it clears the mucus in the air passages and relieves the congestion, it reduces the bloating, it clears the nadis, that is the subtle energy channels, it aids in your weight loss, it stimulates the abdominal organs resulting in a flat and toned belly. It promotes the digestion, it improves the blood circulation and helps you get glowing radiant skin. It refreshes the brain and calms the mind. Caution: avoid this breathing exercise if you suffer from high blood pressure or heart ailment, epilepsy, backache is there due to slip disc. So if you are having slip disc or intervertebral disc prolapse, you should not be performing Kapalbhati, or any recent surgery to any recent stomach surgery, then also you should not perform Kapalbhati. Women should not practice Kapalbhati during and shortly after pregnancy as well as during the menstruation. Another main point is, if you are continuing the breathing exercises and if you are smoking, then it is better to stop smoking. So as you can see here on the left hand side of the picture, we can see healthy looking lung, and on the right hand side of the picture we can see the lung of a smoker. So if you are smoking, then it is best advisable to stop smoking to keep your lungs healthy. So that breath that you just took, that's a gift. So celebrate your life and be grateful for each breath that you are taking. So please subscribe to my channel and please share this channel with your friends. Press the bell icon to get notified for the next video. Thank you for watching this video.